Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and today what I have for you is going to be a video on the top 30 pocket survival items we can take with us out into the woods or even into urban environments. For the last few years, we've been using less and getting more bang for our buck in our videos, demonstrating improvisational techniques using different items or smaller items as part of kit components, whether it be survival tins, go pouches, or ditch kits, and getting more out of those items. And so we're going to talk about those items and some new items in this video. Stand by. Alright guys, so my intent for this video is to make it fast-paced so we can get through all of these items and then you guys will walk away with enough information to select any number of these items that you like, if you like them, and apply them to your own survival kits. I've also got the dogs in here walking around, so if the camera suddenly falls over or shakes, it's because of the dogs. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now the first item we're going to talk about is just a small cutting knife. This knife is just a small folder, and typically what I've carried in my survival kits is a buck 55 or the 55 in my SAS or survival tin, military survival tin, because it's a very sturdy knife. We can use it with that 90-degree spine to get sparks off the back, and it's incredibly sharp. One knife I found that I really like a lot better for another reason is something by Bear & Sons. This isn't a plug, I'm just letting you know that it's the knife. It's still sharp, it's a little bit shorter than the buck 55, but it's high carbon steel, meaning that we can use this as an additional fire starter. Just grab a hard rock, piece of chert, and then hold this in a way. It's kind of hard with big man hands. And then simply get some sparks off the back of that knife. That way we can use it as a flint and steel striker as well, on top of being a cutting tool, kind of a bushcraft style. Good to go. All right, that next item is just going to be a button compass, unsung hero of military survival kits. Again, got one in the survival tin here just to get cardinal directions. We can also get a high-class button compass like this True Nord, and then even with an improvisational protractor, if we have a protractor as part of our kit with some string, we can create an improvisational compass to give us very precise bearings that we can use to land navigate. Next, some really small items that we can use to conceal within our clothing for lock picking and getting out of restraints. Just a bobby pin and hair barrette. We can use this to pick handcuffs with the bobby pin, and then we can shim out of handcuffs with our hair barrette. Two great tools that are found just about everywhere that we can use to get out of restraints for escape. All right, next, just a Whirl-Pack bag. This Whirl-Pack bag is 1 quart or 1 liter and 32 ounces. That means we can use things like chemical treatment methods such as water tablets or iodine tablets to treat water. And this is a great piece of kit that we can use to actually just gather water and treat it with chemical means to make it safe to drink. We could also boil in this and get that water treated to make it safe to drink as well. Next, Old Faithful, the Commando Wire Saw. The Commando Wire Saw like this we can use to saw through not only wood material but metal material as well, like nails, so it makes a great escape tool. Comes in a package like this, relatively expensive considering off-the-shelf commercial wire saws, but this is a stronger one where it comes with a spare blade and these little toggles with the pins that we can attach them to. The wire itself is designed to snap and break, which means all we have to do is take off one of the handles, reattach it to the longer section of wire, and we still have a working saw. Good to go. Speaking of water, as part of our kit, having a small pocket filter like this is definitely good to have. It goes great in smaller kits or ditch kits, and it's good for approximately 30 gallons of water. And so we have the straw with the filter itself, comes in its own waterproof packaging. We can keep it in there until we absolutely need it and pull it out and drink from any source. That way we don't have to treat water. So a good pocket filter is great for a kit. Another item that I like and that I recommend are going to be Chem Lights, especially smaller Chem Lights. Small Chem Lights like these are great signal devices that we can use not only for just passive signals we can hang up in a tree, but we can also use them as active signals, creating a buzz saw during hours of limited visibility, which is great for signaling in the dark. Chem Lights make great signals, and we can use them for a variety of purposes. So another item that we could use, typically found in old military first strike rations, is gonna be that caffeine gum or military energy gum. This takes the place of coffee, so we can just chew on this, get that caffeine to get a boost in energy. Great, they fit in the kit. It doesn't require any cooking, boiling, or water necessarily. Lasts for a long, long time. This package expires in 2028, so we've got this package for at least another 4 years or so. We can use this gum as part of our survival kit to maintain energy and maintain awareness. Now, we were talking about escape tools earlier, which is common items. Some things that are not common are going to be things like ceramic razor blades. Could use regular razor blades, but ceramic razor blades are not going to give off detection during a metal detector. Plus, these are small enough to where we can tape them up and actually conceal them in our clothing or in a kit. We can use these to cut through restraints as well. Now, a larger item that can go in our kit that we can put in a tin or in a pouch, similar to our Commando saw, is going to be our pocket chainsaw. This pocket chainsaw is great for taking down large material, and we can use paracord as well as a little bit of bushcraft, creating some toggles, and extend our reach with this Commando chainsaw and cut down larger sections of material that may be standing still and avoid hurting ourselves. So a pocket chainsaw, a great piece of kit. Another item that I've kept in my survival tin and recommend as another lighting source that we can use and set it and forget it basically, and I've seen other people using now, is just a small fishing bobber chem light. That small fishing bobber chem light is just what it sounds like. It's a small chem light that attaches to a fishing bobber. Something like that. We crack it and we can use it to see in the dark, see inside our survival tin, as well as look at our map or anything that we need a small light to be used for, and grab a few of them and add them to multiple kits. Now, we're not always able to carry large amounts of cordage in our kit, even smaller kits like the survival tin or in our pockets, but one thing we can carry is Kevlar Cordage. Kevlar Cordage is incredibly strong, and there's a lot of it that we can use for a variety of purposes, not only for shelter craft or improvisation, lashing, binding, but we can use it to even open up melons and get at food, or as an improvised weapon. For our more urban survival kits, if we're going to be operating in vehicles or out there, we need some sort of extraction tool, a tool that we can use as an infiltration or break-in tool. Something like a small rescue me tool we can use to get out of a vehicle, cut the seat belts with the actual blade right there, or then use the hole punch to break the window or break the glass to get out of a vehicle in just about any situation, or if we need to get into a vehicle as well to get somebody else out. Smaller flashlights and headlamps are going to be great for survival, especially pocket survival kits. Now that we're wearing more clothing in the winter, we can afford to put more things in our pockets, and one of those things could be just a small headlamp. Big fan of the E-Light by Petzl. It's got a bunch of different settings to include strobes, red lens, and then even locking it into position. And it's relatively water resistant, so we can take it into a wet environment or keep it in our pocket. If it gets wet, we can dry it out, but it'll still technically work because it is water resistant. But a great piece of kit for us to see in the dark or use it as an improvisational signal. Again, touching on urban environments, a Silcock key can go in our pocket, or we can put it in part of our urban survival kit or just our bag or our go bag, and we can use this to access the exterior water fountains or hose extensions as part of buildings on the exterior, so we can get fresh water, drink that water, and stay hydrated. One thing that I picked up in survival training and from part of the manual that I've adapted for my own kits are simple tape sachets. These can be just about any kit we want. This one happens to be a fish kit. We could use it to make sew kits or put small razor blades, any other items we want to tape and have them secure so they don't put a hurt on us, but then we can safely put them in our pockets. They're going to be great. I see guys starting to use this more and more now, and I'll be happy to claim ownership of that idea. Now, another military item that we can put inside of our pockets that has a civilian equivalent is just a military cravat and or bandana. We can use the military cravat or its civilian equivalent, just the bandana, as a tool for anything that we would need a piece of cloth for. It's 100% cotton, so we can use it for medical devices, we can use it for weapons, improvisation, we can even use it to create char, to get a fire going. So that bandana or that cravat can go right in our pockets, and we always have it for a variety of purposes. Another thing to have that is an everyday item is just lip balm. Not only for a hygiene product to keep our lips supple, obviously, but we can use the petrolatum or petroleum jelly that's in chapstick or lip balm with a high enough percentage as a flame extender with other cotton material to act as tinder, so we can use it as a fire starting device as well, which goes underneath that Ranger lighter that it came up with several years ago. With those small headlamps, like our E-Light Petzl here, we can have smaller flashlights we can add to our kit. Some of those flashlights can be large, like this pen flashlight. It is incredibly bright that we can use for urban terrain. We can also add smaller lights to our kit, like a small button lamp with 3 different settings, even a strobe for signaling. We have a small pen light from Cabela's that we could use, and then even that small mag light that just twists on, and we have that bright light. This thing can go in our pocket or in our survival tent or in our kits, but we have another way of seeing in the dark. Smaller items that can go in smaller kits are just right in our pocket that we could use moving around in the dark. A larger item that could go in our pockets if we're wearing military or cargo pants is just a survival bivvy. That emergency bivvy is something we can crawl into, combined with natural material to form a debris bed as well as overhead cover to keep us warm. The only issue with these bivvies is that they retain a lot of moisture, so we're going to get a little bit of that moisture in our survival shelter when we wake up in the morning. So we want to keep our head out of that survival shelter and expel all the air so it doesn't get trapped in there with the moisture and get us wet. But an emergency survival bivvy is great for us, especially in the cold environments that we're in today, as well as for any casualties that may be suffering from a cold weather injury. Along those lines, a Myer blanket is great as well. A Myer blanket, similar to that bivvy, this is a lot more pocket friendly in size and shape. Plus we can get these ones that are dual coated in color, bright orange, as well as military green on the inside. So we could use this not only as a shelter to avoid detection, but we can also use it as a signal to get search and rescue's attention. So a Myer blanket like this. We used to have a TTP where we keep one of these in our pockets or in our IFAC just for such emergencies to keep warm and provide just that emergency shelter and warmth just to get through a night. But a good piece of kit to have. Another small piece of kit that we can take with us that goes in our survival tin is going to be wire. That wire comes in a variety of forms, but we can use wire for snares and traps as well as improvisation or repair. Recommend 24 gauge picture hanging wire, same as this, and the same as our trip wire here from our ground flare security set. Another good item to have is small razor blades. Just like with the ceramic razor blades, we can carry real razor blades, not a huge deal. These are great additional cutting tools combined with things like our small knife as well as our commando saw. We can use this as another device to cut and then even assign it a special capability as in, or a task as in cutting game. That way we commit only one cutting tool to processing game. So that's our dirty knife. And then our other knives and cutting tools are clean, used for campcraft or other tasks like taking down material. Now for other medical care items, BandAids can go in our kit. They're relatively small, easy to pack, and disposable. The best ones to have are going to be those H BandAids. That way they can fit not only around our fingers or other places we're going to get lacerations, but then even in the crook of our knuckle here, because we tend to cut ourselves in our non-dominant hand when using sharp tools, and so having those BandAids or those bandages that are easily used for those hard to reach places are going to be important for our survival kits. One thing that's great not only for military personnel but for hunters and trappers or anybody that wants to use face paint. With military personnel, not only we're using this to avoid detection and blend into the environment, we can also use the face paint because it has paraffin wax and petrolatum inside as a flame extender to get a fire going. So it's another good piece of kit to have. One item that I like that I picked up years ago that we can make out of any orange cloth or material is going to be just some sort of signaling panel. A large signaling panel like this that is bright orange, this aviator survival panel, can be used to alert search and rescue aircraft, and it folds up nice and small and we can put it in our pocket, pull it out, alert search and rescue, and then put it back in our pocket when we're done. Now, one thing I like is carrying small hanks of cord. We teach this out at the Pathfinder schools, carrying small hanks of cordage. We also teach it in the military as part of survival. We can carry larger hanks of cordage, like this one, it's about 10 or 15 feet or so, or we could carry smaller hanks of cordage. These are about 5 to 6 feet in length, and place the smaller ones in different pockets in our clothing or our uniform. Or if we have larger pockets, if we have cargo pants on or we're wearing a coat, we could place a larger hank of paracord in there. But paracord can be used for just about anything in survival. Plus, it's one of the hardest things to recreate from natural materials while you're out there in the forest. So, on the topic of 550 cord, speaking of items that bind and lash things together, tape is going to be one of those other unsung heroes of small survival kits. We can also use that tape for a variety of different purposes. We can use them to create bandages with a cutting tool, or just wrap it around a cut. We can even use this as a flame extender, wrap it around our lighter, and it gives us a flame extender right then and there we can use so we don't waste all the fuel in our lighter. But we can use this tape even to create kits like those sachets. But anything tape can be used for, it needs to go in our kit because it's a great tool and probably the #1 survival tool to have. Now, some special items that we can keep inside of our kit, even in other kits like our food kit, is going to be sugar. Sugar is a great thing to keep in a kit. It gives us an energy boost, a little hit of energy, and it goes great with our brew kit or our drink kit or even in a rations pack. Hang on to that sugar in your MREs, don't throw it away, because we can buy pot perm and use these combined to get a fire going with just a little bit of friction, using a mortar and pestle to get a survival fire going. But always hang on to sugar as part of your MREs and place it in your pocket or in a waterproof container, because you never know when you might need some sugar. And then one of the final items you can find in any sewing section in the store is going to be just regular sewing bobbins. These are bobbins that are used as part of sewing machines to wrap thread around, but we can use these to wrap fishing line, not only thread or other cordages, but we can use it for fishing line as well as wire to place in small kits like our small fishing kit, and have a way to hank up that cordage, whatever it is, and keep it well maintained and ready for use at any time. So bobbins are those small things that make a kit a lot easier to use. Alright guys, that does it for this video. 30 of the best pocket survival items, and a lot of different uses for these with some clips to give you guys the best information. There's a lot of different items here, but I hope you like this video and take away some of this knowledge and have some ideas for your own survival kits that you can apply based off this video. So if you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.